It is day 4 of our 7-day challenge, where we are building up our creative confidence so that we can love what we create. In day 4, we are going to talk about our creative space and how we can create a space that works for us. Our space is sacred. It keeps us inspired and motivated. It can be messy and chaotic, like mine, or minimal and very organized. So let's explore our creative space and how it guides and fuels us throughout our creative practice. Let's talk about it. Hello, my name is Krista. I am a full-time artist specializing in portrait painting and landscapes too, and helping others see their creative amazingness too. So our creative space, what does it look like? What does it look like now? What would you like it to look like? What would you want it to look like? If you dreamt about your most perfect space, what would it be? Would it be in a fancy loft at some, building? Would it just be in your home and you set up your own studio space? Would you have a separate area, like a farmhouse that's separate from your house where you've transformed it into your studio space? What would you like it to be? And based on what you have now, can you make it work? With what you have right now, can you make it work? So let's talk about my creative space, and let's do a story time about me and my creative space and how it's transformed and moved throughout the years. So when I first started out, I was just, I sectioned off a part of my dining room table, and that's where I painted, and I kept it there. I didn't clean it up. I just had, one little space of my dining room table. And then, my creative, it grew and grew, and it became a part of the living room. And then where we once lived, it almost became a part of the entire apartment, my whole entire home. And I had a space in my bedroom. I put up a desk. I had a very large space in the living room. There were paintings all over. I had stuff in the storage room. I had stuff everywhere. There really was no organization. But I enjoyed working from home. But I knew that it was taking up too much space. So I ended up joining this art organization locally, and I was able to secure my own studio space outside of my home. And it was beautiful. It was a cute little space, wasn't too big, exposed brick. I mean, it was gorgeous. And I loved it for a while. And I would go and I would, brought all my stuff there, had a couch, had a refrigerator. I mean, it was my second space. And I would go a lot, and I enjoyed it and I loved it. And then all of a sudden I just stopped going. I stopped wanting to go. And I don't know if it's because the introverted me just wants to be in my own little corner. And a lot of the artists in this space pretty much wanted to communicate and talk, and the doors are open. And I just felt like I could never get anything done. I was more apt to socialize with everyone else and not really close my door and just focus. So I gave up that cute little studio to move back home and work from home. And the second time around, I did have a little bit more organization. I wasn't as chaotic as I was before, but it was still tough. My home wasn't that big. I had 2 kids, my husband, and 2 cats that we all shared a space together, and it took over everything. But I was happy. I was, painting. I was creating. I was creating courses. I had an office space in my bedroom. So I had everything that I needed and I was happy. All right, let's fast forward. And my husband and I decided to pack everything up and move across the country from the East Coast to the West Coast. And so I basically had to purge, get rid of a lot of stuff. And it was it was actually a really positive thing for me because not only was I able to purge clothes and just stuff that I had accumulated for, how many years I lived in this home, I got to reorganize my creative space and my stuff. And so even though we had to move across country, really funny. So to move cross country, we didn't do a moving van. We did the containers. And so they left us the containers and it was up to us to pack all the stuff in, and then they would close it up and throw it on a truck and it would go off across country. So we had 3 containers, and we had gotten rid of everything, furniture, like we let go of everything. We were going to start brand new in our new home. And so one of the containers, no lie, and my husband makes fun of me, one of the containers just had art supplies, my easel, all my stuff. So I have a lot of stuff, a lot of art supplies, but I did get rid of a lot. I did. I tried to. So anyway, fast forward, I'm on the West Coast, Southern California, and we have a new home, and I was able to reorganize, and the place where we moved in had a little nook where it was designated as my office space where I did do work. I had enough space in my bedroom to set up a desk as well. The living room is big enough for me to work out of, and we also have a garage. So right here, right where I am right now, this is my creative space. This is where I work. This is where I film. This is where I teach my classes. This is where I go live. This is where I am with my puppy, my 1-year-old puppy. And so it is where we are right now. It is in the corner of my living room. And I have a window, big sliding glass window right here. I have actually 2 of them. So I have a ton of natural light where I am situated. And I absolutely love it here. I also have a patio, a little deck out from this sliding glass window where I can move the easel out there and work on the deck as well. So this works for me. I've seen opportunities to get studio space outside of my home, and I just feel like I just wouldn't go. I really enjoy being where I am right here. Shh. Stop it. So just recently, I expanded. I needed, because my kids are home and there's people, I get distracted, and sometimes I just need private space. So we have a large garage, and just recently I moved just so my living room doesn't become overwhelmed like it used to be with supplies and stuff. I moved a lot of my stuff down into the garage, and I've created another little studio down there with lighting and panels so I can hang stuff up in. So I do have another designated space. I don't go down there that often because I love the natural light here. In the garage, I have artificial light. But if I need to be alone or I need some silence, I have my larger easel there. So if I'm working on a larger canvas, I can do that down there. So I have space. So I'm happy with my creative space. It's my space. I've created a little nook here in the corner of my living room. And I can move it around. I can shift. I can change it. I can do whatever I want. And I'm happy in it. and it's everything is out so that I don't have to clean up, put it away, and then when I'm ready to paint again, bring it all out and go through those motions. So I have a space. And it's really important to have some type of space, a permanent space that you can call your own. It doesn't have to be a large room. It doesn't have to be um, the entire dining room table, doesn't have to be the garage, doesn't have to be a separate studio someplace else that's really fancy. It can be a tiny little corner. And I'll talk about in a bit about different ways that you can develop your creative space so that it works for you in whatever space that you have. So, um, you have to enjoy. It's always important to not only enjoying your creative practice and the act of creating, but you have to be happy and comfortable where you are doing it. Because if you're uncomfortable, it's going to come out in your painting. It's going to come out in your practice, right? You're going to be uncomfortable, and then you're not going to want to paint that much, or you're not going to be motivated to perform in your space because it's not comfortable. So how can we create a space that encourages us to create a space where we can perform our ritual, maybe light a candle, turn on music, something that sparks your creativity, positive creativity. So here are some tips to set the stage and create a space you love. So I told you I sit and I have natural light here. If you can find a space in your home that is close to a window that provides you endless natural light, that is perfect. I love painting with just natural light. I do have lights connected to my easel. I rarely use them. So I don't, I'm a morning person, so I will usually work from morning to about 3. So I will work as long as the natural light is that I have the natural light. That's as long as I work. I rarely work at night. That's when I like to spend time with my family. So it's rare unless it's really dark outside or it's raining, which rarely does in San Diego. I rarely turn on the lights that I have on my easel. I love working with the natural light against my canvas. And I try to be consistent with the light because you're going to approach your canvas a little differently based on the light that you have, that you're using and that you're painting with. It's one reason why if I start a painting up here, I will finish it up here. I won't go downstairs to my garage area because that light is different. And I'm going to see the palette's going to look a little different. The shading, everything's going to look a little different. Then I'm going to bring it right back up here, put it in the natural light, and I'm going to be like, what did I do? So I started painting downstairs in my garage. Based on the lighting that I have set up down there, I will finish that painting down there. I won't bring it up here and work on it in natural light. So I try downstairs to, the lighting is kind of daylight type lighting, but there's nothing like having natural light next to you. So, again, if you don't have a window where you can create next to, research some lights that provide natural light. And there's a ton out there. I'm just using just a utility light that I got at Home Depot, and the bulb is like a natural daylight bulb. And sometimes I got to play around with that. I have other lights that I can cover and it's a little softer. So I do have several options for lighting, but the daylight is my absolute favorite. All right. Curate your chaos. Creativity often thrives in controlled chaos. Yes, my creativity is chaotic. Organize your tools, but don't stifle the organic flow of inspiration. So if you are not a minimalist, don't try to be a minimalist. My husband is, I am not. I'm the type of person that I need to have all my tools in front of me. If I don't have it in front of me, they don't exist. So for me to have an organization where I put things away in things, I forget that they exist. So my oil paint, I have a clear kind of container so that I can see everything that I need and that I need to utilize in my creative process. So organize, understand the type of person you are. And yes, this is my living room, and my space, my little corner does get messy, but it's organized. Stop it. It's organized in a way that inspires me. And yes, I do keep it neat. It's a little messy right now, but it's rare that I just put things away so that I can't see it. I'm like that with everything. And if I'm working on a specific project, I will lay out everything. I will not put it away. I have them all out, either clear bags or clear containers, so I can see it. Also, I have some paintings that are up behind. Well, I don't know if you can see them, but I do have some work that's up behind me. And occasionally I will tape up stuff to my easel as inspiration as I'm working on something. So hang up inspiration, art around you. Remember, day 3, right? We talked about a tickler file and how I would print out photos of artists' work. I would screenshot or print out, I would save photos or rip out of magazines, things that I liked. And then I would surround it when I'm working on a project. I would surround these inspirational photos around me to help me, to guide me, to support me, and help me make decisions and problem solve and see how other artists do things. So I like to surround myself with these things. They help me. They're like the helping hand. It's like I have the artist right there helping me and guiding me through whatever I'm working on or dealing with at the time. So yes, in your space, try to surround yourself, or just have a binder that you keep all those ideas and inspirations in, and have it at your space where you're creating, so you can go back to it and reference it when you need something, you need an idea, you need to solve a problem. All right, so seek comfort and ease of work. Invest in a comfortable chair. Right now, I'm sitting on a stool, not too comfortable, but it does give me height. I did have a comfortable chair, and it didn't work for me because I was constantly kind of leaning forward. But I like sitting. I have a stool that I sit on, and it keeps me at the level that I need at the easel. Same with the garage. I sit on the same exact stool. But find something that's comfortable for you. It will make a difference. Be comfortable in your space. If you're not comfortable, you will not create comfortably. I love using those carts from IKEA. I forget the name of them. I have like 4 or 5 of them. And that's where and those carts are great. They're like 3 tiers and they're all open. What's great about them, again, I like to see everything I have. If I put it away, I don't know it exists. So those carts are great. I think Target sells them, Michael's. I think they're sold everywhere now, but they're rolling carts, and they have 3 tiers, and you can just put stuff on them. You can even on the top one, you can put like a I got a wood panel that I put on top so that I can roll it around. I can put my palette on top of it. So great resource for staying organized, but still being able to see everything. I also have right here where I'm sitting and my computer's sitting on. I have a computer, like a thing that raises my computer up, like a I don't know what you call it. It's like a bracket. But I also have right here where my computer's sitting on, it's a rolling desk and it can go up and down. And it's really, really great because I can fit my palette on it. I can roll it around. I can bring it downstairs if I need to. I can lower it, raise it. I can stand. So it's just a rolling desk. And it's just great. It's mobile, it moves around, and it's really helpful. I can put my computer, I can put my palette, I can lay out my mess, and it just keeps things organized. Another thing that I have is I got it from, I think either Pottery Barn or Crate and Barrel, and it's a rolling table. And it's pretty low. I can fit my large palette on it, and it has like shelves and it has like a drawer, and it rolls around and it's mobile. And it's like a mobile kind of cart, like a bar. It could possibly be a bar cart. I mean, I don't know, but it's a great thing because you can move it around. It's mobile and I can fit stuff in it and I can still see it. So finding furniture and things that help you stay organized and help you be comfortable is really, really important. Really important. This one's important. Make your space permanent. I suggest creating a space that you can stay at and it stays where it is at all times. The last thing you want to do is create a space and then clean it up. And then, I don't know about you, but me, if I've got to clean it up and then I want to go back and paint, it's just the act of the fact that I have to go and lay out all my stuff again. It's like I'm just not going to do it. So I love having my stuff permanently where it is. And then I can just sit down on my stool and boop, boop, start painting. I know that's not everyone can't have that, but try to have it. It could, again, I used to have a tiny little space on the dining room table where I put my stuff. And then I just kind of packed my paints. I had a clear container that I could pack all my paints in. And then I could put my easel. I had a portable easel. It was like one of those easels that you could go do plein air with. And so I could pack it down and then put my canvas on top of it and put it on a table next to my dining room table. So I didn't have to completely clean up. I could easily just move the easel from the table to the dining room table and go and start creating. So try to keep your space permanent. So you don't lose energy, you don't lose interest, right? You're ready to create at all times when that urge happens. So again, maybe look into getting a rolling cart. I'm sure Amazon, maybe, like a craft cart. They have them everywhere. I'm sure IKEA or somebody or going to a craft store has it where you can store all your stuff and you have a space, a flat space on top where you could maybe put your easel or maybe put your palette on. All right. So above all, let your space reflect your unique artistic spirit. If you have a separate room, I applaud you. You are so lucky. And yes, when one of my kids moves out, I am taking one of the bedrooms. And yes, that will be my studio. But for now, I do use and I make it work with what I have. I fill it with objects that have meaning, memories, inspiration that motivate me, symbols, anything, whatever you need to get the flow going. surround yourself with it. Let it embrace you in your space. This is your creative sanctuary, your portal to the world of your own making. So personalize it, own it, let it be the springboard for your artistic dreams, and make sure it's permanent. Remember, the perfect creative space is not about how big or beautiful it is. Your space can be really, really small, like I said, like a corner of your dining room table. But wherever it is, however you create, keep this space in a spot you can return to easily to get your creative self going with ease. All right, so I hope this helped. I hoped, I didn't have a ton of stories today to talk about my space because I've always kind of been in the corner of my either living room. I did have a separate space and it just didn't have the motivation to go to it. So why spend the money on it? So write down like what would you like? What works for you? Do you enjoy where you are now? What could what could make it better? Ask yourself those questions and, just do what you can to create, even if you have a tiny, tiny little corner in the house, do what you can to make it comfortable for you and to make it work for you. So I hope this was helpful in day 4. Day 5, we are going to be talking a little bit more about confidence and feeling good about what you create and how to do that. How can we feel good? And what tips can we gather to help us feel good about what we create? So thanks for listening. Thanks for following along on this 7-day challenge. I will see you tomorrow and happy creating.